Hi, my name's Niki. I'm the Obsessive Bookseller, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. It's a standalone novel, and it was the perfect breath of fresh air that I needed. Scalzi's novels are always a lot of fun, and really good palate cleansers between other things, but this one was especially special. You can tell he had a lot of fun writing it. And actually, at the back of the book, he has a section where he details the process of what writing in 2020 was like and how one thing led to another, and he ended up writing this novel instead of the dark symphony of a book he had been working on at the time. He says this is meant to be a pop song, like something that just makes you feel good while you're listening to it, and at the end of 3 minutes, you go on with your life, hopefully with a smile on your face. I'm paraphrasing there. And that's a perfect way to sell the story. It's exactly how it felt for me. And if you've ever read a Scalzi book, anything that you can imagine that this man might do with the Kaiju Preserve, like that's what you're getting. He had so much fun with it. So many like ridiculous situations, but they work somehow. He always has an overtone of really cheeky narration, and his characters are quick-witted, fun characters to read about, really interesting jobs that they're doing, and the kaiju themselves I thought were really well done. It gave me a sense of wonder to read this book, and I felt like, even for just a fraction of a second, as if I was actually there helping take care of these creatures. I'll even admit there were a couple of jokes that ran just a little bit too long for my taste. But, I still gave him a courtesy laugh every time they showed up. It's alright, it's fine. I buddy read The Old Man's War with a couple of friends, and we decided that it wasn't fair to call that series fluff, because it did have a little bit of depth and substance, but it wasn't as robust as some of the other harder science fictions that we had come across. So we landed on Fluff Plus as an evaluation, and this one fits right in with that category. It's done well enough to make you trust that you're going to get a good story, but the characters don't have a ton of depth. Not that you necessarily need a ton of depth in this situation. I will say this is the best world building I've seen from him yet, like really immersive. Like I really did feel like I was there for a little bit, which is kind of cool. And on occasion, he got a little too heavy-handed, nerding out between one character and the other, explaining how the whole kaiju preserve works. So, a lot of explanations, but when they're explaining things about kaiju, can you really complain? I ate it all up, but I could see every time I went to a writing seminar 10 years ago, I had been reading for a really long time up to that point, and it's the first time I ever heard the phrase info dumping. And it took me a long time to be able to recognize it in books, because if they're describing something that I'm enjoying learning about, give me more info. I don't mind it. I don't care if it's integrated into the story smoothly or not. Now, because I've got a critical eye on it, because I've had to learn to recognize it in my own writing, yeah, I see it a little more. So yeah, there's a little bit of info dumpy going on. But like I said, they're talking about kaiju. So yeah, keep talking. I'm listening. But those scenes were balanced pretty nicely by a bunch of intense action scenes. A lot of excitement. So while those explanations were in there, and I know that might bug some people, it didn't bother me, and as soon as we got to the action stuff, I was completely sold. Yeah, if you're looking for something light and fun between other things, like, this is perfect. You know those movies you watch where they have those incredible cinematic scenes that just make you go, whoa! There were a couple moments in here I felt like that. That was pretty darn cool. This was just an absolute delight for me. I am landing at a 4 out of 5-star rating. I really liked it. Now let's talk about other books you might like. For sure, if you're new to Scalzi, try at least the first book of his Old Man War series. Awesome. If you love the tone of his writing, I can't recommend more Planet Side by Michael Mamet. Cheeky yet capable main character, and it strikes the balance really nicely between having an engaging, rich plot while also making it still a fun science fiction to read. Love this one. Speaking of cheeky overtones and fun writing styles, All Systems Red by Martha Wells is also in the same vein. And if you've read this one and haven't tried any of Scalzi's stuff, like definitely, they're a good crossover. If you're like me and you love learning about the kaiju and really digging into like the day-to-day stuff on how to take care of them, you might love A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. I figure if I were allowed to have any fantasy job, I would be a dragon naturalist. I just think it is so cool. And so the nerd out aspect is why I think this one's a good pick. I was trying to think of other science fiction that I read with a real lighthearted tone, something that makes you feel good, and obviously, Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers is like the ultimate feel-good science fiction read. And for me, it served much the same purpose as the Scalzi book, only the Scalzi book had a little bit stronger of a plot and like a broader story arc going on. And this might seem kind of off the wall, but one of the coolest things about the Kaiju Preservation Society is that it's a standalone. So you can get immersed into something really fun without having to commit to an entire series. And so this is the last one that I read that is also like that. It's called Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst. It's a lot of fun. The storylines are not in any remote way related, but yeah, if you're interested in a good standalone because that was your favorite aspect of kaiju, then give this one a go. Thank you so much for joining me for this review, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye.